The summer 2025 season in Rhode Island is underway. 4 games took place Tuesday night. The closest was a 14-point win. The largest was a 50-point win, and it wasn't a team that you would expect to win by 50 in week 1. We'll get there. We'll break down all the games here on the Postgame show, and then have some fun at the end with our new analyst. But want to shout out our sponsor for the season, Initial Response Restoration. So we have a sponsor, so we'll do some reads and stuff throughout. Shout out to them. Shout out to all of our sponsors. It's great building those partnerships, and everybody listening, go check them out. They're really good guys. They know some of the players in the league, and they'll be coming by during the season to hand out some free stuff. What's better than that? Everybody loves free stuff. Week 1, we're going to go right in order, and it is the closest game from week 1. It was the Road Dogs and Air Mambas, and it is the Road Dogs winning by 14. And so let's break down that game and hear from some of the analysts. 83-69, the Road Dogs win. Kareem Cooper led the way with 20. A lot of familiar faces. Ethan Austin back in the Legacy Leagues with 18 points. In his Rhode Island debut, he's been playing in Massachusetts. And Mario Valerio with 19 for the Air Mambas. Some of the shooting, we got 23% for the Air Mambas from 3. They're probably going to want to see that number increase as they play and as they go through the season. The Road Dogs, 8 of 19 from 3. It's like they've been doing this forever, kind of picked up right where they left off. And the Air Mambas actually won the rebounding margin too, which is crazy. So just some of the things we kind of look at to be like, what the hell happened in this game? But that's why we have Max, Jessica, and Matt here to help break that stuff down. So Max, we'll go to you first. So it's everyone's first time here besides me, so I'll kind of add in some context. But your first time seeing the Road Dogs, Max, they won a title 10 months ago. It was summer 2024, so it's a different version of a team, but they're one of the teams that has won a Legacy Leagues championship. So they're trying to be back in that hunt again this year. What impressed you about them in your first time seeing the Road Dogs in their win over the Air Mambas?
Yeah, I thought they spread the ball around pretty well. They were going up and down the court pretty well. It was just, they were the first team, so it seemed like they started off a little slower. But they eventually caught on in the second half, and I thought they worked quite well as a team.
Yeah, and so it's that chemistry they're trying to build, right? And we'll talk throughout the year, and you guys will get some of that context. During their title run, they were like an 8 or a 9 seed, and we had 12 teams, and they were able to make their way and pull off some upsets for a variety of reasons. But really, it was them playing together. And then over the past, the season before that, the season after that, the chemistry has been a theme for them. Let's put it that way, right? Like how successful are they building that chemistry is going to be a storyline we watch with the Road Dogs. Jessica, so your first time seeing both of those teams, you can go wherever you'd like, but it was a 5-point lead after the first quarter, and then a 13-point second quarter, win for the Road Dogs to kind of add to that lead and build that margin by halftime. So, what'd you see in either team in this one, Jessica?
Yeah, for that being my first game, it was a very, very impressive one to watch, really entertaining. I really enjoyed seeing the Road Dogs work together and work on that chemistry. A lot of dunks for them, which was really exciting for everyone to see there. A lot of three-pointers too, and I was honestly surprised to see how the Air Mambas really kept up with them after hearing of them being such a good team in the previous seasons. So really, really good one to jump out and start right at the gate.
Yeah, and for the Air Mambas, they would bounce back and win the third quarter, and sure, at that point it's kind of a little different style of a game, right? They're trying to come back, and the Road Dogs are trying to hold on to that lead, but Chris Vincenzo, they had some new faces on the Air Mambas. So Chris Vincenzo with 17 and 8. Keon Lawrence is a returning player with 16 and 12. And so they'll need some of these guys. 6 for 26, we talked about it, right? That from 3 is not going to do it for a team like the Air Mambas, who's a little smaller, right? You kind of look at the Road Dogs and their size and the different types of athletes they have. And there's a lot of teams, that look more like the Air Mambas. And it's like, we're going to have to hit shots and not turn it over and probably play pretty fast to be able to try to make up for some of that size. So the Air Mambas 0-1, the Road Dogs 1-0, and an even fourth quarter. So impressive for both of those teams. And it's always fun, a new season. Some players come back, some players are new, but it's interesting to kind of see, how teams change from season to season. And so we kind of have to add that in throughout here. But another returning team who wasn't here last season is returning from the summer a year ago when they lost, and we talked about it in their post-game interview, they lost in overtime in the semis, so another super competitive team. They look like a whole different team. And so let's kind of get to the Skyhawks and what they did in week one, defeating Rags. 94-72, a close first quarter. They kind of built that lead in the second quarter and then kept kind of rolling, and they kind of turned up the pressure. It was funny even watching the highlights, watching the stream, like kind of getting a feel for the game in the first half, and then you saw the pressure kind of going up and them getting those turnovers, those quicker baskets, and it is the Skyhawks, led by Omar Rahman's 46. I mean, he was an all-star, I'm pretty sure. Let's make sure I get this right. Yeah, an all-star in summer of 2024, and is one of those players to watch, just attacking the basket, and is a big part of this team. But they added, and he talked about it, some of his friends, and I was talking with Cody, who was there early, Cody Crawford. We're going to get to Lob City in a second. He's like, oh yeah, this is a different Skyhawks team, just physically and size-wise and how they look, and they showed it in this one against Rags. Led by Josh Perry, Rags had 39. We'll get to him. I'll save him in a second because his first game, and to have 39 points in your first Legacy Leagues game on 8.5-foot rims is something. And so it's kind of going to be fun to watch him throughout the season. But Matt, we'll go to you. Haven't gotten to you yet. The Skyhawks in their new pink jerseys. They used to be in gold, as you can see by their logo. They're like, we're going pink. In the pink, 94 points. Your first time seeing them, Matt. What'd you think of the Skyhawks?
Well, whether you're looking at doing photography or you're talking about sports, I'm a very visual guy. And from what I saw out there, I thought they were the team with the most firepower on the day. They could shoot, they could dunk, they had size, and it's easy to score a lot of points and win a lot of games when you have stuff like that going for you.
Yeah, 6 of 12 from 3, and so they made enough of those, just constantly attacking, almost 70% shooting from the field for them, and it was because they were constantly getting to the rim and able to finish a lot at the rim. Over a Rags team, all new guys, right? And so it helps to kind of have a couple players like, Zeki Burgess, like Omar Rahman, and shout out to Bari Smith, some of the returners for the Skyhawks, who had, anytime you're doing something new, it was new for you guys last night as analysts, and it was new for some of the players. It's new is challenging in itself, right? Let alone having to play basketball against the Skyhawks team that we've talked about is new and improved. But for Rags, Josh Perry, he looked like he played in the league before with the types of shots he was hitting. Some mid-range shots, hitting some threes, 16 of 21 from the field, 5 of 7 from 3. And so kind of leading that charge, had the ball a lot in his hands. Jessica, you can talk about whatever you'd like here, but, Rags shot 50% from the floor. 14 turnovers. We kind of talked about that. You can touch on that a little bit, kind of what changed in that second half, right? It was kind of close. It was treading. It was going to be a close game, and the Skyhawks kind of pulled away and adapted. What did they do in that second half?
Yeah, so the Skyhawks, they really applied that pressure because when you have a team like the Rags coming out, like, you don't know what to expect. But, oh my, every time that Josh Perry went down the court, every time he went up, you knew it was going to be something good. It was always going in. And the chemistry between Josh and Clarence Brown was really great. I saw a lot of assists between the two of them, and they just worked really well together, getting it down the court. They did have a few turnovers, like you were saying. I think they kind of lost tension a little bit with, seeing the score going up, but they really held their own. And the Rags, it was a really impressive game to watch for the Rags.
Yeah, and so some new players trying to figure things out, right? And there's different styles, there's different ways to play. A lot of times it's about pace, right? Especially in a league like this where it's 4-on-4 instead of 5-on-5, and so there's more space and it's faster. And so a lot of times some teams like to play that way, and the Skyhawks look like one of those teams that, like, hey, you want to run? We're in on that. Let's do this, right? And we're going to try to beat you that way. Where the RI Warriors you're going to see, and we'll talk about them later, last season were more about, like, we're just going to shoot 53s a game, right? And if we make 30 of them, we're going to be in this game, right? That's 90 points. And if we don't, then we're probably not going to be in the game. And so they were like, we're just going to shoot a ton of threes and use that as kind of our thing, right? Lob City can beat you a ton of different ways. The Road Dogs can beat you a ton of different ways. And it's going to be interesting to kind of see that divide, because even in week one, our 4 1-0 teams, and the Skyhawks join that group, I think are going to separate themselves. And so, the odds would not be good if you wanted to bet for 4 2-0 teams next week, because all of the 1-0 teams play 0-1 teams next week. And I don't know who did the schedule. Don't look at me. But, it'll be interesting to see if we can get an upset next week, or if there's going to kind of be that 1-4 maybe it's 1-3 and then 4 and then 5-8, and kind of how those things shake out throughout the season. But Rag's going to be a team to watch, because every time with a new team, week 1 is like not what they look like at the end of the season, right? And every team kind of goes through that evolution of figuring things out, figuring out how they want to play or how they need to play in a league like this to be most effective. So Skyhawks, I'm interested. I'm so glad they're back. And just shout out to Omar in that interview. He's taking it personal, right? And they lost a very close game. I'm actually going to pull that up while I'm talking, but they lost, a super close game. It's not going to change. It was against the Game Breakers. It was in overtime. It was in the playoffs, the semifinals, and they had leads in that game in the fourth quarter, if I remember correctly. And I said it, they could not be closer to a finals appearance. And so to come back with this new team, they are ready. They've kind of gone through that, and they're ready to kind of make a run. And let's get it out in the first episode. The playoffs are different. I'll say it every week on this show. It's so funny, and when you guys see it, you'll know what I mean. It slows down. It's a different game, and the Skyhawks are kind of built to win in many different ways. Speaking of winning, Lob City, the 9-time champs now. They're 9-11, so that's pretty good odds. They take care of Gold Rush by 30, and let's kind of break down Cody Crawford and how he led the way for this undermanned Lob City team. It was a theme last year, and it continues for them this year. 106-76, a 15-point lead after the first quarter, led by Cody Crawford's 43, and Nuri Mahmood back on the court with 23. Almar Sabat, your finals MVP from a year ago, 21-12, and 4 blocks. It was probably a couple more than that, and he definitely altered more shots than just the 4 he got his hands on. For the Gold Rush, Kyle Wolf also back, a returning player, 32 points for him. The running joke in the the running theme in the fourth quarter was his floater that he constantly kind of kept making. So Kyle Wolf, and that's what he used to do. So it's funny that it kind of came right back to him. Shout out Tyler McNeil with 17 in his debut for the Gold Rush. But 4 players played for Lob City. We can't forget Hachi Amini. He was on that Game Breakers team I just talked about, who beat the Skyhawks a calendar year ago to get to the finals. He had 19 and 5, and so it's going to be interesting kind of how he fits into this Lob City group of Cody, Nuri, Almar. You're going to hear about Victor Cashew Jr. You're going to hear about Gian Abdijian a lot. We have some more players to meet from Lob City, but Max, your first time seeing the 9-time champs, and they are back-to-back champs.
Yeah,
no, they only won. Yeah, whatever. We'll figure it out. They've won 9 of them, and it's too many. But yeah, back-to-back. What am I doing? Max, what'd you like about Lob City?
Yeah, no, they were a really exciting team to watch, and as their name says, it reminded me a lot about 2015 Clippers. They had really great playmakers. I was really impressed with Almar Sabat. He had a triple-double, had 11 assists. They were just getting it down court. Sometimes they were just chucking it, and then they'd make a dunk. It was really cool. They had great team chemistry, and overall they just had some dominant players. It was really, really competitive game.
It's been a week. The social media graphic was playing back-to-back because they're trying to go back-to-back, but they have only won 1 in a row. But when you win 9, it's fine. You can kind of let someone else win every once in a while, but I like it. Yes, Lob City will be one of those teams to watch, and it'll be interesting to see how many players they get there on a week-to-week basis, right? And attendance becomes a thing in this league because it isn't the NBA, right? It isn't everybody's full-time job to always be at the games. They are, and a lot of, you'll see a lot of teams most of the time will have their players. Lob City is one of those teams that it's, who's going to show up tonight and what are they going to look like? But come playoff time, we know what to expect from this team. Matt, Lob City Gold Rush. What stood out about Lob City, and then we'll kind of touch on that last game, which is the best game because someone on this show played in that last game. But Matt, Lob City, what'd you like?
No, what stood out to me in that game was Cody Crawford. He's got over 2,000 points in this league, and he's a guy who plays with confidence, plays with his own style, and I think they're going to win a lot of games with him dictating the pace and helping out.
Yeah, I made the joke that he was, old and tired in the interview because we say it, compared to when he started in this league 8 years ago, so 7 to 8 years ago. He's happy to not be playing 2 nights, previously playing in Massachusetts, is now able to focus on the Rhode Island League, and we saw that. with 43. So shout out Cody, the only current 2,000-point scorer for now in the Rhode Island League. I talked about it that last game, and I saved the largest margin for last, maybe not the best for last, but it's the Halfway Crooks, another one of those OG teams along with Lob City, who has been in every Rhode Island Legacy League season. They defeat the RI Warriors by 50. 111-61. I don't know how that happened. It was a lot of fast breaks. I haven't seen the box score yet, but 67% shooting from the floor sounds about right for the Halfway Crooks. 9 of 24 from 3, and it felt worse in a sense, like they made more of those, and it was kind of just a barrage all at once. Really, the first quarter, they kind of played an even second quarter, and then in the third quarter, a 30-7 spurt for the Halfway Crooks to kind of pull away. Nick Lemoyne with 32. He's back on the Crooks, 32 and 10. Jared Hansen with 31 and 4 threes, and Terrence Gallo, 23. We're going to know his name. 4-time dunk champion. I like to get this right. Yeah, a 4-time slam dunk contest champion for good reason. Terrence Gallo and David DePina back in the league. I completely lost the box score. David DePina back in the league. He was also on that Game Breakers team, so it's kind of funny how things work out. Only 9 for him, but get ready for more David DePina for sure. For the RI Warriors, Paul Furtado led the way with 18, Mark DaCosta with 14, and Kevin Veeder, an all-star last year, with 10, so kind of need more from Kevin. And Mark, only 2 of 7 for 3. Bezal Masood, 2 of 12 from 3. So I talked about the RI Warriors, Jessica, and kind of, how they previously relied on that three-point shot, right? And so, it didn't feel like they were kind of leaning into that, so maybe they're trying to kind of adjust and find some other things, because 11 for 38 isn't necessarily bad, right around that 30% mark. You'd like to make more, right? I mean, you want to make every shot, but the way that kind of the stats work out, 40% is good. 28% they're going to need to shoot better than that, as we saw in week 1, to keep pace with some of these teams. But talk about the Halfway Crooks. Humor me, because it's a great team name. It's my team, in case you guys didn't pick that up. But yeah, what'd you like about the Halfway Crooks and how they were able to score in this one?
Yeah, I mean, Halfway Crooks is the perfect name. At the half point of the game, they really just showed their talent in the second half. Slam Dunk Champion is the perfect title for Terrence Gallo. Every time he would go up, he would basically float up to the hoop. It was insane to watch. A lot of good points by Nick Lemoyne, too. He was really dominant on the court. He was always grabbing it, hitting them threes, getting up there with them dunks. Like, the whole team had a lot of chemistry, which you could tell, and worked really well together. And I can for sure say that this team is going to be some trouble for the other ones in this upcoming season.
Yeah, and so we'll because it was, I'll touch on like this stuff a little more, but stat-wise, 38 rebounds to 26, kind of a rebounding difference for these two teams, and 7 turnovers for the RI Warriors. And so, just really missed shots turning into easy buckets was kind of the story with this one, and we don't have to, go crazy and continue to break this down. But the Halfway Crooks kind of looking to... And I'll do it because it's my team. It's totally fine. Looking to join the top 3, right? And of the 4 teams that won, we have Lob City, Road Dogs, Skyhawks, in some order. And I think the Halfway Crooks are trying to break into that group, so they will get the Skyhawks twice. Every team will play one team twice. So a Halfway Crooks Skyhawks meeting 2 times this season is going to be fun. And then it's like I know what I'm doing. The Road Dogs will play Lob City twice in the regular season, which should make for some good entertainment on the court for us. But let's look ahead to week 2 really quick, and then we're going to do what I actually warned the interns this time, because in the future I just go rogue and I come up with anything on the spot, and then we kind of go around and I ask a question, and this one is going to be their favorite team from week 1. So it doesn't even have to be a team that won, just their favorite team to watch so far this season from one game. So we'll get to that in a second. But week 2. So I talked about it. All of the 1-0 teams are taking on 0-1 teams. So it is the Skyhawks looking to go to 2-0 against the Air Mambas. The Halfway Crooks looking to make it 2 in a row against Gold Rush, Lob City, and Rags. And then the Road Dogs close out the night against the RI Warriors. And these games start at 6:30 on June 10th. So a little earlier than week 1 for you guys listening. So check the schedule. It is correct up there, but the first game will start at 6:30 going forward. So a little earlier start for everybody, which is good. All right, let's get to our last segment after we make sure you guys, everyone go follow Initial Response Restoration. All right, very important. The show is presented by them. Shout out to them. Thank you guys so much. And this segment can be sponsored by them. Why not? We're gonna have some fun segments with them because they do a lot of like cleanup and stuff, right? You know, when there's flooding, you know, when you're doing construction, and so we can kind of have a little fun with that, and kind of maybe a team that's under construction, right, or a team that looks flooded after week 3, right? We'll get there, and so they might have to call our sponsor, Initial Response Restoration. All right, Max, your favorite team to watch in week 1 through 1 game and why?
I'm going to go with the Skyhawks. I just felt like they were the most dominant in the paint, and for a low-rim league, they brought some of the greatest highlights, I feel, with some great alley-oops. It was just some great... They excelled in the three-point as well, but it was really the dunks that were really good, and their defense, they were pretty unstoppable in the second half, so it was just thrilling.
Yeah, and that defense, and it's funny, like everyone wants to run and jump and dunk, right? And it comes down eventually, as we get closer to the end of the season, to that defense. And the Skyhawks, so far relying on that defense to offense, and it's not the only way that they can create offense. We don't know yet, and we're going to see throughout the season. But any team that can turn that defense into offense has an advantage, especially in a league like this, getting those easy baskets. Matt, you can repeat. It's not ideal, but you can repeat. But which was your favorite team from week 1?
Oh, my favorite team was definitely one of the teams from the first game, the Road Dogs. Back to the photography perspective I think of any player, I had the most photos of Kareem Cooper. As sometimes I was looking at him, I was like, am I looking at the Road Dogs, number 13, or is this the Rockets and Clyde Drexler? Amazing photos, amazing game, amazing team. Look forward to seeing him again.
Yeah, and Kareem on that championship team for the Road Dogs, a 2-time All-Star, and really was one of the lead defenders that the Road Dogs utilized in that championship run because, as we saw, right, a lot of the things he can do on the court. So shout out Kareem, who's also now in the Massachusetts League, so he gets to double dip, and shout out Kareem, good guy too. Jessica, your favorite team from week 1?
I'm going to have to go with Lob City. I mean, being able to create that win with just 4 players on the court is really, honestly, difficult. And all players are playing for the entire game. All 4 key players are getting points up there. Everyone worked really well as a team. It was really impressive and to watch. So, yeah.
Yeah. Lob City, right? That's who you said? And I zoned out for a second because I couldn't believe no one picked the damn halfway crooks. You guys all fail. Okay, that's how this works. People will remember there's a way to get brownie points. Okay, and the way to do that, no, I'm kidding, is to bring up the halfway crooks. Don't always do that, but it's a good joke. And I can't believe you guys didn't take the opportunity when we score the most points of any team, which may never happen again. But in week 1, it was 111 from the halfway crooks. But yes, Lob City as well. Only with their 4 players, but those 4 players balled out in week 1 for sure. All right, that's the show. You guys survived. Good job. Hang tight for 1 second on the call, but everybody, thanks for listening. And so week 2 coming up June 10th. Throughout the week, we'll have power rankings, our top plays of the week. We'll have photo albums for you guys. This is the podcast. We'll do this every week. The live streams are up on YouTube, and full stats with your player profile pages are up on thelegacyleagues.com. So for Matt, Jessica, and Max, I'm Joey, and thanks for watching the postgame show, and we'll see you guys next week.